website, and so it's lots of changes. Thank you very much. Through time, sometimes we can't get onto the site, and we don't know why. So if that ever happens to you, you're not alone. Just keep trying; it'll eventually work. We've researched to the nth degree, and oh well. And I've recently discovered that, at least from my computer, if I'm on Safari, the donation links don't work. But if I'm on Chrome, the donation links work. I do not know why. So anyways, it's always a good source of information to use our website and share with people that don't know about it, that it is there. You can find out events that are happening. You can order address signs and sign up for SafteyNet, but I have a feeling everybody in this room has already done all of that. So in fact, who wants to come up and give my talk here? Yeah. I don't know. And Krista Pickens has done a great job at taking care of our MailChimp and sending out notices, and I always love to read her stuff because she cracks me up. We have a pretty active social media presence on Facebook, and probably one thing I would like to ask is, I will be leaving, I am moving to France for a year. I decided I wanted to learn French. So, au revoir, mon ami. So that will happen in the spring. So we're looking for another website manager. So if you know anyone who is interested in that, we currently use WordPress, but are open to other options if anyone wants to take it over. So please let us know. Anything else?
Good. Tracey Douglas, our website.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Ferri-Taylor. I got charged with the task of, there was a disc golf tournament with basket beaters, and we raised enough money for 25 address signs that we donated to local veterans through the American Legion. I utilized them to let us contact various vets. We got them installed for them. Some of the people wanted to install it themselves, but it was just really a great disc golf tournament.
I'm Brian Ferri-Taylor. I'm working with the SafteyNet networking group. Our SafteyNet will let our approximately 500 subscribers know if there's an event happening that would require their special attention. So we've got a team of 15 people listening to their to the radio broadcast that comes out of Howard Forest, and we consult with each other if it's worthy of a notice. We'll send that out via email, text, and voice messages. We had 22 alerts where the team was active since our year is November to November. So since November 1st of last year, 22 times where the team got together to talk about what was happening, and no alerts were sent out. Usually, it wasn't either it was something that didn't require an alert, and very often it was because the fire department got on scene so quickly that before we could even send it out, it was under control. There was no need to. I'm ahead. Okay, I just say
Yeah, SafteyNet's coming up.
okay. Well, we
This is the
networking. So we were Keith and I we participated in Keith more than I in the development of the county wildfire protection plan that was updated last year, and we were in on those meetings and gave some input about what was needed in our area. We're working closely with the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council. We are the Sherwood Fire Safe Council, as well as Sherwood Firewise Communities. They provide a lot of services for the area, some grants, and they support us with networking opportunities. We're going to be developing, okay, I'm going to talk more about SafteyNet later. And then last week, Terry and Keith and I were at the Conservation Corps Center for the Fire Forum. So we're connected to a lot of different organizations in our community.
And my wife Nancy Simpson takes care of the Firewise Facebook page. She couldn't be here tonight, so she did provide some data, which I think is always good to look at. This last year, well, 2025 to date so far, we've had 2,100 people that have had 16,670 views, so pretty good activity. Looking at regular followers, one of the statistics is that there's mostly a lot of elderly people here. The majority are women that are the users, but in this case, 729 are the regular followers, and 30% of those people are women over the age of 65. So, some demographics come up with Facebook, and there's more data. This is just sort of some highlights. The top post this last year, 2,628 views. There was an incident on Goose where a car went into a tree and started a fire. And again, the fire department got it out very quickly, and the residents helped as well. So that was a good post. You can see respondents location-wise coming from all over the place, all the way down in Hopland, Redwood Valley, and we even get some folks in the San Francisco area, Oakland, Santa Rosa. So it's good widespread out-of-area property owners log into that to see what's going on. And I think our biggest thing is, like Brian was talking about, Terry, networking with other organizations is really important. So we're plugging in a lot more into sending out posts to the other fire safe councils, to the other blogs, social media sites, Blue Trails Fire Department, other social media pages like Nextdoor. I think Brian posted that one. So that social media has sort of become a way to get the word out on a regular basis. So we're doing that kind of stuff. So but Nancy does that work and does a lot of that work. So thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, so now back to this is our planning and funding team, Brian and I, so
Thank you. Firewise USA, we have to renew our status annually in November. So it's due coming up November 21st. And we, to maintain our status as a Firewise community, we need to have $66,000, more like $67,000 in contributions. And this is money that we report to them that you've spent cleaning up your property and time you spent. Your time is valued at $33.48 an hour. So anytime if you report that to us, info@sherwoodfirewise.org, we can then use that to meet that $67,000 requirement. And if you clean your gutters, let us know. You cut your grass, let us know. If you contract with somebody, let us know the amount and the time you spent getting that contract and then supervising the work. So we're certified through the end of the year for 2025, and then I'll get that in November.
that's for calendar year 2026.
Yes, that'll be for
Coming year.
2026. And one of the benefits of that is if you are on the California Fair Plan, and we're all moving that way, you can get a 10% discount for being a member of a Firewise community. So this pays you money for letting us know and keeping that certification going.
Some other insurance companies give you credit for that too.
USAA does. I don't know any others.
State Farm.
Yeah, tell them that you're in the
I'm a
Firewise.
member of this, and I can give you a copy of the
Yeah,
certificate.
yeah.
So do the other networking.
The other network.
CERT, go ahead.
Okay, so the Mendocino Fire Safe Council has a regular meeting of all the neighborhood fire safe councils. That's an online meeting, and we participate in that every other month. We're talking to OES, and that big connection there was through, that's the Office of Emergency Services, and that was through the planning for the wildfire preparedness plan, prevention planning. CERT, that's Citizens Emergency Response Team. We had a connection with them. They had a training here a few years ago. Many of us were part of that. VOAD is Volunteer Organizations Active in Disaster. We participate in their meetings. North Coast Opportunities, they gave us a grant to fund our Broadcastify channel. We have several members that are radio operators. Fort Trails Fire Department, he's here tonight, that's good. And Little Lake, and CAL FIRE, we have a good connection with their prevention office, not their prevention, their the person, the battalion chief, not the battalion chief, but the one that, the program director that does outreach to the communities. And Pine Mountain Fire Safe Council, we're working with Pine Mountain Fire Safe Council and Ridgewood Fire Safe Council to see if they can, we can integrate them into our SafteyNet program. And the North Coast Regional Resource Partners. Working with them on the fuel reduction program about Sherwood Road and in the subdivision. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. All right. The North Coast Resource Partnership is a regional grouping, and they bring the tribal groups in along with the community groups and commercial logging, and so it's like a nexus of communication about starting with watershed management. That some brilliant person figured out, hey, we can take care of the forest, that helps the watershed. So there's been a lot of fire prevention, vegetation management kind of activities, watershed management that has worked its way. And so we're sort of trying to get more programs in our area for our watershed because it's a separate source of funding. The watershed protection is funded in a separate source than the fire funds come from. So it's really important that we look at both. And here in our district, obviously, Blue Trails Water District, our watershed is very important to keep that good water, and we all got good clean water here. So that's another sort of aspect of that. One of our biggest projects, and I'll have some more detail in the second half of the meeting about our roadside fuel reduction. This is CAL FIRE funding. It's over $3 million that we've had now for a couple of years. We've completed work along Ridge Road and Blue Lake Road and Brook Trails. And then we went into Spring Creek and had done Blue Lake Road and Timber Road and Condor. We'll be finishing up on Eagle Court, which is the last piece of Spring Creek that's coming up soon. We've also nearly completed the Sherwood Ranch, and again, I've got some maps. If you're interested, there's maps here on this map here. That's the scope, and I'll show on the second half. We've got some maps that have more detail. But basically, the idea is we're clearing about 50 to 100 feet from the center line of the road on both sides. And that allows for good access for firefighters to get in and also for emergency access to get out. So it's been very important. We've started in Sylvandale. That's our next project. We'll be continuing on with Sylvandale. And then next year we'll be getting to the gates and Sherwood Road. So that'll be in our second half to talk about what's going to come up this next year. The Mendocino County Resource Conservation District got grant funds, and again, that's through the watershed groups, Pacific Watershed Associates, and that's funding to do road work on these gravel roads in the large subdivisions. So what they're trying to do is improve the drainage so it saves from sedimentation getting into the watershed. But that combined with our roadside fuel reduction is improving the road conditions, so it's better driving, better accessibility, it's better visual, you can see a lot better, as well as the fire risk reduction and the sediment reduction. So we've done right now, it started work, but then we got rained on last year, and it really was sort of a mess. It's typical when you do road work on these dirt roads, as soon as grade 7 guarantee it's going to start raining and be a muck for a while. But anyway, Spring Creek and the Gates have projects there, and I'll talk about, we're going to continue our project in Spring Creek this coming year. One of the biggest things that happened was our emergency access route funding. We've set up that special benefit assessment, we voted for it, and I've got some stats on that in just a second here, and that's going to maintain the funding for those emergency access routes. I wanted to mention here as well that there's a $50 million FEMA grant that was awarded to Mendocino County. The feds said they're taking it back. I've done research into it, and they've said, like in so many cases, they're doing something, but they haven't really effectuated that. And now 20 states that are impacted by losing those FEMA grants, amongst many other agencies, but they're suing FEMA. So the 20 states now are in litigation. And just this last month, there's been a preliminary injunction stopping that from happening, and so it is going through the court process. Whether we'll ever get that money, I don't know, but it's important that we know that we're fighting for it. That would be, for Brook Trails, was aimed to be 750 homes at about $40,000 per home to do home hardening, like roof replacement, deck replacement, window replacement, things like that, as well as the defensible space vegetation-wise around your home. So it's really important to our community, so we're fighting for that. But even if we don't get that, the state offered 25% of those funds, and that money was already put into the budget. So even if we don't get the $50 million, we may be getting something like $15 million through the county fund. All right. So what we really wanted to do tonight is to meet our new Chief Jeff Donaldson from Brook Trails Fire Department. I'm going to let Ryan introduce him. So,
you're in there.
First of all, about the Brook Trails Fire Department, as being part of the SafteyNet, I listen to the radio traffic, and these guys, these men and women, if you need help, they're there. I mean, they're there if you fall down, they're there if you have a medical emergency. I don't know if they get cats out of trees. Or anything else that you might need, these guys are going to be there, and they're going to help you, and they're going to be there quickly. And that's, you know, that's a real treasure that we have there. Chief Jeff Donaldson has been he started his fire service in 1995 with Little Lake Fire before coming up here. He was born and raised in Willits. He's been a lifelong community volunteer with the Frontier Days, Willits Youth Football. He's coached multiple sports at Willits High School: boys and girls track, boys football, and girls softball. He received he's been a member of our community and contributed a lot. And we appreciate many ways that he's served us. He received his Fire Marshal's Office Lifetime Certificate as Firefighter 2 and Fire Service Instructor. Chief Donaldson.
Well, hello everybody. First and foremost, it's an honor and privilege to serve this community. It was an honor and privilege to serve downtown Little Lake, and I'm just blessed to be part of it. I really am truly blessed. I'm passionate about what we're doing, and I'm passionate about the group that I have I'm working with, and this is going to be a wonderful experience for me and hopefully everybody in the community. And he's right. We will get out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and be happy to show up and help you no matter what. Now, as for the cat, you have to find the cat skeleton in a tree. So we're kind of a little reluctant on that, but I have a wonderful group of people supporting me and a wonderful people working with me every day, and I just can't say enough about them. Without them and the team I work with, my efforts would be in vain. So So our goals as a fire service are to keep everything small. Keep the fires small, keep the incidents small. If we can do that, we can survive this together. Without that effort, without coming on quick and hitting it hard and getting ugly early, so to speak, and I stole that from Jeff Smith. The fire on Goose, we hit it with a water tender and we put 500 gallons onto it without the operator getting out of the truck. And it saved that house right next to it. Blistered the paint on that house. So it was pretty close, a couple minutes. And that's just right up the road. But a couple minutes the other way, and that lady we would have been fighting a structure fire too. So it's really nice to see that. As for the priorities of the fire service, we always look the same thing, and this goes through all fire districts and all fire departments everywhere. Life safety first. Our life, your life, people's lives. Property preservation second, and then environmental protection. That's how that works. That's how it has to work. It's been like that for 100 years. My life, your life, that's got to be the top priority. So we will risk a lot to save a lot, but we won't risk anything to save nothing. You understand that? So if your house is on fire and there's nobody in there, okay, we'll do what we can to preserve your property, but we're not going to risk our life to do it. If we can go in there safely, knock it down, we're going to do that. We've had a couple fires locally that got close and we saved it and we got lucky. We're not always going to get lucky, right? The big fire eventually is going to come, but everybody's doing their part. These guys are coming out in the community and cleaning up properties all over the place. And the letter that's sent out by the district, it got everybody aware of it, and I don't think anybody's been doing so much vegetation management in brook trails in years. It's like it's everywhere, it's happening everywhere. Now that the burn ban's been lifted, you'll see people start doing little burn piles. We want to encourage this. If it isn't for the community members stepping up and doing their little piece of park, their little piece of the property, and even if you go 10 feet on the other side of the line, nobody's going to complain about that. But that's what makes it happen for all of us. If a big fire comes through here, I'm outmanned. But CAL FIRE is right in our backyard. The headquarters at Howard Forest, they're 13 minutes away. They're consistently 13 minutes away. They're bringing tankers, hand crews, dozers, and they come with an army of people. Where I have 7 good volunteers and 3 engines, they have 30 engines and 700 people in aircraft. That's what really, if it gets away from us big, that's who we're really counting on to help us out. And they're great. Josh Ducourt is our local battalion chief up at Howard Forest. He's also a community member in Brook Trails. Justin Buckingham is the battalion chief down in Ukiah. He's also the battalion chief for our department. We don't see him much, but he's also a member of Brook Trails. We have a lot of good members and a lot of people who are willing to help us out in a lot of different places. So when you go around your house and you think about you're hardening your home and you're removing this stuff, think about it like this. Anything that you could drop an ash into or drop a hot ember into, if it's going to catch on fire, you want to remove that. The dead fuel piles, the pile of pine needles that get brushed up against your house, your gutters. I know it's hard to get up there and clean the gutters, but that stuff just piles up there in the summer, and it's just a bed waiting for an ember to hit it. If you can get out there and do that, and if you can't, reach out and find somebody who can, right? Firewise does a good job of coming around and they're abating the lots. But if you have a troubled situation where you're elderly, you just can't do it yourselves, go ahead and reach out. Give me a call. We'll see what we can do. We have a chipper that we got put into place. We have a policy that's put into place. If you have a pile of brush that you're afraid of burning, right, maybe we can go and just chip it up, turn it into a pile of chips. That'd be easy to do. We're looking to start that program. The board's already put it forward and it's ready to go. We're just looking for our first victim, so to speak. We got trained on it, we got a guy who's ready to operate it, and we're ready to do that. Anybody have any questions?
Well, thank you so much for joining us here and coming from Little Lake Valley, which is obviously a kind of more urban for Willits environment. And what do you anticipate as being some of the challenges being in a much more forested region where you're now centrally located and acting out of, if any?
Well, we're lucky that we get the coastal influence and we don't get those low humidity, high temperature days, the fire watch days. And when we do, the evening breeze always blows the same way. Comes off the coast, it settles it down for us right away. When that happens, and it does happen a couple times a year, we'll get that wind comes from the other direction, the humidity drops, and that's when we really got to be on our toes. We had a lot of calls, and some people will call them nuisance calls. I smelled smoke. Hey, we want to come, we want to check it out. We don't want to waste any time going, well, if you don't see flames, we won't come. No, we want to come. We want to make sure it's safe. We want to chase those little smokes. We're here for the safety of the community, and those little smokes turn into big flames. And it's just a matter of somebody said, well, I smelled smoke, but I didn't need to call it in. I didn't think it was anything. No, this is something we need to chase, and that's kind of the difference of Little Lake is you can see the valley. From my house, I can see the entire valley. The western hills, the eastern hills, Ridgewood Grade, and what would be Oil Well Hill, where 101 goes out north. I can view all that from my house. From here, I can't see anything. I can't see Sherwood Road. I can't see Ridge. I can't see Primrose. And it's the people out in the community who's got eyes. If you got a really good view, please kind of pay attention a little bit. If you see something, say something. Does that kind of get your answer?
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else?
Do we have fire cameras up here?
No, not that I'm aware of. We have fire cameras on top of Laughlin Peak, and we have fire cameras on top of Cottle Peak. The Laughlin Peak camera does look into brook trails, and you can see part of it. But do we have any up here at the airport? Not that I'm aware of. Do you know where to find those cameras? Alert.com, California.
Watch duty.
Watch duty, and it'll show you every camera in the state. I got a little app that pulls up, and I got to kind of zoom into the Mendocino County.
If anybody's got 50,000 laying around, we are working on getting one up at Two Rock. We've got permission from the landowner. We've got it all engineered. PG&E was going to pay for it, but they pulled out. So that covers brook trails, Ridgewood, all the way down to Comchee and all the way out to the coast and into Willits.
So everybody understands where Two Rock is. You go up 7 Mile Hill on Highway 20 going out. There's a dirt road that shoots off to the left, and that's where Two Rock is.
It's one of the highest
Yeah, it's pretty
peaks,
close.
and they've got an old fire tower on top of that. Cameras that go on top of the fire tower, so they've got a 360 view. But it's a 50 grand investment to get it set up because there's no power out there, there's no internet out there.
And that
So-
would give us a direct influence on us because it would show us our western hills on the backside of Ridge. It would view all of that.
Yeah. It's one of our top priorities, we just are looking for money.
How about donation cans at all of the places where they collect for animals and various other things? One for the fire tower.
We may get there soon, we're hoping for a one-shot deal, but if we don't, we'll be doing bake sales.
You know, Mariposa, everywhere.
Yeah.
Put a little can out everywhere. This is how much it's gonna cost, and this is what we're gonna do, and it's all engineered, all the things you just told us, and I bet people will want to help.
Yeah, we're working on it. Well, hopefully we'll get through this year.
Yeah, the camera networks that's being set up across the street are wonderful. Caltrans, we're using all their cameras. They're all tight. Anybody else got anything good?
Along those lines, is there any discussion about drones? I mean, the drones have become such a deal now. Is there a way to get something up in the air on an emergency basis to go look at something?
My counterpart downtown, Eric, has gotten a drone. That's Chief Alvarez, if you don't know, and he's been practicing with it. He's actually implemented it on a couple fires. Any fire that comes up in Brook Trails, he's coming, and his crew's coming too. Anything that says fire, they're automatic aid, just like we're automatic aid with them. Any echo response where we're doing CPR, they're coming. So, and Eric's actually got one in place that he's, they spent a little bit of money on it, and he's getting better at it. With our tree coverage that we have, it's kind of hard to get one out of the trees. That's the problem. And everybody, we love where we live. The trees are great, and it's like, you know, it's the devil's advocate. I love living in the forest, but then there's the dangers of living in the forest. And the dangers are wildfire comes through here, and the weather's wrong, we're all in trouble. So the evacuation routes that we're working on through FERCO, right? There's a couple private owners on the south side that are going to allow emergency access in. So we'll go right back to where we were. Both lanes on Sherwood are going down the hill, and nobody's coming out. Is anybody familiar with that plan? It was put into place, it was probably 2000. They determined that if they're going to evacuate Brook Trails, nobody's going up Sherwood. Both lanes are coming down. So.
I'm curious, there was an incident, it was notable for a couple things, but one of them was, there was a car that was stopped right at the corner of Primrose and Sherwood. And there was highway patrol, sheriff's department, and a fire department truck there. I was amazed at how big the response was, but I did not know what triggered the response. There was no fire. There was just a car sitting there. What was that? Do you know?
That was a traffic, just the other day.
Yeah.
That was a traffic collision.
It was what? A traffic?
Traffic collision. The car that was sitting there, the wheel was damaged and it couldn't move.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was just kind of stuck there.
Okay.
Why the sheriff was there, they were coming through the area. CHP responds to all accidents. We had 2 rigs from Brook Trails Fire, 2 rigs from Little Lake Fire. The Sherwood corridor is also a mutual aid corridor, all the way up to Poppy, I believe. Their Little Lake is coming too. So that kind of,
Okay.
we're working well with them. They're working with us. But yeah, it was kind of a long drawn out scene. We were there a lot longer than I like to be there, but we just couldn't move the car. We tried to push it. Couldn't get it out. Wait for a tow truck. Anything else?
When you say you come in and help when people call, how far out do you go?
Our district boundary is Timberline. Timberline. But with that said, we've been to the Rancheria. And
Oh, really?
that is our sphere of influence. That's actually Laytonville's district, the backside of Old Stagecoach Road, Upper Road, Lower Road, Middle Road.
How
That's
about
the-
the gate?
Yeah. The first gate, second gate, third gate aren't in our district, but they're in our sphere of influence. And if we get a call for somebody in need, we're not gonna deny that.
And I know there's people out there that are less able to,
A lot of medical aids out there, a lot of lip assist. We actually got to use our side-by-side in the snow on Third Gate Road. Right before the bridge, and I think that was the only time we actually got to load a patient on it. And we drove them into Sherwood Road.
I know who you're talking about.
I was with Little Lake at the time and got the privilege of actually driving that.
Wow.
So it was
Yay.
okay, it was a nice little ride up there. We ended up losing the lady eventually, but she was, we'd been in there a
But
couple
you
of months.
she hung on for a while.
Yes, she did. She was a wonderful lady.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I know that we need more volunteers. Is there anything we as a community group can do? I mean, how can we promote that? How can we get more people to volunteer?
The volunteer thing is, it's about quality. Having bodies who just want a ball cap and a t-shirt and don't show up to help, doesn't do anybody any good. So the group we have is pretty dedicated to our task, and they're pretty into doing it. If I could get one or two more people who have as much passion as the rest of the group and will buy into what we're doing, then that would be perfect. But that's hard to find. It's hard to get somebody who's gonna get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go help grandma off the floor. But we do it, and we're happy to do it. And I'm very passionate about what we're doing. If it wasn't for passion, how can we have any success in anything we do? We have to care about our community, care about what we're doing. Anything else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
question, a lot of the calls, I heard several calls about illegal burn piles.
Yeah.
When does someone get cited for that? And who does it?
1122, 1121, and 1120. Two of them live up here in the district. They're chief, so to speak, lives on Sherwood Road, and he's 1120. He's been around a long time. Do I know of any citations? Yes, there was a recent citation over by Lake Ada Rose for an illegal burn pile. Right? So usually it depends on if you pass the attitude test. Right? If I show up and you're in compliance because of negligence, yeah, you're probably going to get a prevention officer showing up with me. It is SRA. I don't have a site book. But we can recommend to those CAL FIRE people who do, hey, we need one here. This guy was reluctant. But if we show up to a property owner, so the example is on Primrose across from Willow, the guy was absentee, doesn't live in the area, doesn't get here. And he got up and he didn't have a burn pile. He had a little barbecue pit in his backyard with a screen on it and everything. And I got called on that. Were we going to cite that? Did he put it out? Absolutely. He looked and goes, "You're a fire department." Yeah. And I got called because of your fire. He goes, "Oh, I'll put it out." And he just, yeah. But it's a lot of discretion. But yeah, negligence. If you're not in compliance with the burn, yeah, you'll get cited. And I've known of 2 in the last 6 weeks that were, what are you doing? The burn ban's not been lifted. And then CAL FIRE comes in behind me and goes, "Well, what do you think?" And, well, failed the attitude test. But I wish I could tell you something different on that.
And along those lines, we've had discussions over the years about, there's a police log report, and being able to have some kind of public report like that, of just saying there was an incident at such and such a place. I mean, is that something that, we need to somehow deter people from doing this thing. And we try to educate, but it just seems like there needs to be, the consequences is sort of what Brian was getting at. If people get off with a warning, are they going to do it again? But it's more a matter of awareness. We want people to be aware of
Well, the Facebook, social media that's out there, fire department doesn't have a Facebook page. And I have no intention of starting. The public opinion jury that sometimes gets involved, is going to steer clear of that. But one guy, he actually, not only did he get cited for having a bad burn pile, he got arrested for having a warrant too. So, yeah, we try to do the best we can with it, and I wish I could say, yeah, there's a real fine line there that we're gonna, if you're just over this a minute, we're gonna get you. We're not out to get people, we're out to get people and keep people safe. So if you've got a good pile that's got a good ring around it, and you're out there with your hose, hey, I'm kind of trying to do what I want to do, and I just forgot to check it was a burn day. Yeah, maybe we can have some leniency there. But if somebody's just going, nah, Jeff, I don't need to listen to you. I don't care if it's a burn day. I got a pile, I got to burn it. Oh, okay, here, this is done. Sign them up. Did I get your? Yes, thanks.
So is a barbecue pit not allowed?
a warming fire and a cooking fire are a thing. Right?
That's right.
If you have a barbecue pit, a Weber, and you're out there grilling hot dogs, that's not covered as a burn pile.
You know, because you said the guy with the barbecue pit was gonna immediately put it out.
And he was just embarrassed that I got called.
But would it have been okay for him to have that barbecue pit?
I legally couldn't pull, I legally can't tell him to put that out.
That's what I was wondering, what was that within the realm of this is okay and this is not okay?
Oh, he was okay. He was.
Yeah, I understand that he was happy to put it out and all like that, but like, just curiosity, you know, like what is in the realm of okay, not against the ban. You can have a barbecue pit to cook hot dogs, just don't have to.
They prefer it to be a fuel-controlled barbecue.
Yeah, well, I've got gas grills, but I'm just kind of curious as to.
Well, I think you're not talking about a hole in the ground with the guy throwing wood in his barbecue over it.
No, he had a
Yeah, he had a grill.
A grill.
Yeah.
Like you buy a
But you was gonna put it out.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was just curious, was that okay, even though he was agreeing to put it out? Yes, it was okay.
A warming fire is still not against the law.
Uh-huh.
Do we tell people that? No, we don't put it out there, it's like,
Yeah.
if you have a warming fire, there's nothing we can do. No, if
Uh-huh.
it's in the middle of
I
our
see.
ban and you're not using common sense,
Yeah,
and if you don't wanna put it out, we'll put it out for you. We haven't had too many problems like that, but they're out there occasionally. Anything else?
Today's a great shakeout. We talk a lot about fire. What's your thinking about the earthquake preparedness here? What are the things people should be doing? I mean, we know a lot of the common sense, and we don't spend enough time on it.
Well, batteries, water, a 2-day supply of food. You gotta think about your refrigerator. Can you keep your refrigerator going for more than 2 days without electricity? Are you capable of doing that? Do you have a backup generator? Because 2 days, 72 hours, that's like a good time frame. If things really go bad and the earthquake's real, you might not get any help for 72 hours. And then what kind of help you gonna get? So having a small supply of 3 or 4 gallons of water, right? And you gotta remember, if you have an RV, it's gonna hold 35 gallons in it. Your hot water heater, that's drinking water, right? You might not take a shower for 3 days, but you need some drinking water. There's 35 or 50 gallons, depending on the size of your hot water, that can be utilized. But yeah, having a little bit around the house is good advice. For us, it could just be snow. You could live on top of Goose or Ridge, the road gets nasty. You know, unless you have somebody with a 4-wheel drive to get up and down there for you, you might be reaching out, so. But yeah, we encourage that reaching out thing.
Can I say something about Shakeout Day? There was an exercise today at every health care facility in the county. Everything from hospitals to convalescent homes to even private medical offices, all were connected by the ham radio network.
Yep.
They were in every place. I wasn't there today, I was kind of appointment in Ohio, but every healthcare facility in the county was connected today to the emergency operations center in the county office.
I have a radio receiver in my office, and we have a radio in the station. So yeah, I heard all that. Northbrook called, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
But it was everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the little hospitals, all the little medical units. You wouldn't be surprised.
Even Backville Creek Clinic was.
Beckville Creek Clinic. Yeah. Howard Hospital was like first.
Yeah, well, not first, but yeah.
They're close to first.
Any other good questions?
I know most of them.
And do you have a wish list for your department? Any equipment you'd like to have or people?
A wish list.
Yeah.
Do we have that much time? Well, I'm blessed I have a good manager above me. Tamara's actually the administrative chief, I'm the operational chief, and she has done a wonderful job with the equipment. The board supports us very well. We have a Type 3 engine. Yeah, I'd love a new one of those. It's gonna happen. It's cost about $500,000. We're gonna try and get the one we got and get it tuned up, get it running good. We sunk some money into it. We feel better about it. It's a very durable rig, but it just needs to be handled properly by the operators. And when they brought it on board, I think they kind of skipped over the part of the ceramic pump. It gets hot, it blows, so you cannot ever run it dry. And it ran dry, paid the price. So, but it's hopefully going to end up being a perfect rig. The Type 1 engine we have is an extremely rare Type 1 engine. I know probably 3 or 4 other 4-wheel drive Type 1 engines. Brook Trails Fire bought that brand new. We sunk new batteries into it a little bit, and a couple little tune-ups here. We had a nuisance air leak that we chased out of there, and it's ready to go. We don't take it out very much. We don't run it on medical aids. We run utilities. We don't want to waste our good engine on that. And the little squad that we got is exactly what that's for. It's set up for medical aids, our side-by-side for getting on the park course, and some of these little bike trails that we have. That's going to come in handy more and more as we go. But 95% of what we're doing, we're going to somebody's house and we're helping them get to the ambulance. Now everybody in Brook Trails knows what the house looks like. Driveways like this. Stairs, there's stairs, 3 or 4 flights to everything. So that's where the kind of manpower comes in. So we have 2 really good stair chairs. And our water tender that we got is also 4-wheel drive, and it's a tactical tender. That's what we use to put out the fire on Goose. So by being a tactical tender, it is set up to fight a structure fire. You have 1 3/4 attack lines on either side of it that are pre-laid and pre-plumbed into it. And you have a monitor on the front of it that is controlled from within the cab. And that's what we put that fire out with. Mr. Duran was our captain at the time, pulled up shortly behind me, and he just pointed it over there, dumped a bunch of water on it. How's that? Looks good. By the time CAL FIRE and Little Lake showed up, all they got to do was traffic control. I'm sorry, that makes me happy. So our equipment is really good. John, my predecessor, did a good job of getting us a large cache of breathing apparatuses. And our turnouts are in good shape. They've never seen flames for the most part. So they're in really good shape. Now, the state mandated that every 10 years you swap out your turnouts. Well, that was kind of designed, they didn't put a funding mechanism behind it. And that was kind of designed by San Francisco Fire. And a truck company in San Francisco, you're going into a burning building 3 times a week. So the idea that their equipment is going to last 10 years, ours should last 40 years. Because we might get 1 or 2 structure fires a year that we actually make an entry. And we also have a method of sending out a portion of one to have it tested to see if the carcinogens are there. And this is about cancer for the firefighters. But most of them, they're pristine. They're brand new. And our breathing apparatuses are brand new. The new building we got over there is going to be able to house all of our stuff. We're sitting good. We might have to replace a utility eventually. Besides that, we've got some slip-in pumps. We put it in the back of the other utility for a quick attack, and the quick attack trucks are the way to go. We can put 150 gallons on it in 3 minutes, and if we keep it small, we win.
And thanks to the support of the Brook Trails community in passing the special benefit assessment for your fire department, we have now 3 firefighting staff. We have the building to house the equipment, and that all came directly from that engineer study that everyone, I think everyone here was really involved in kind of speaking to your neighbors about it, and Sherwood Firewise was such a great support for that special benefit assessment, and that was for Brook Trails by Brook Trails. So, thank you.
Anything else?
Chief, what did you brought up the snow again, incident up here. We've been talking to the CCC. We had Team Rubicon come up after that, and you're probably familiar with them, disaster recovery folks. And they help do a lot of thinning out around homes from trees that are just falling down everywhere. But even they were not able to deal with some of the really big trees that either hung up or broken off or whatever the trees, dangerous kind of stuff. The CCC, I talked with their head forest person there, and they said they're interested in working with that. Is that something that you coordinate with?
We haven't reached out to CCD yet. I did talk to the crews that came along, the creek restoration here.
Yeah, that was great.
But there's a young guy working with the Firewise that's running the fuel crews down in Ukiah. And he's a pretty good faller. He's decided that he's willing to take on the challenge of getting rid of some of these trees. And you see them out there. They're from the snow event, and they're still there. They're hanging out. They're widowmakers. And he's a pretty good faller. So he'll get in there and try to take care of some. We've identified some of them.
So that's a key. One of the things we're doing with the vacant lot abatement notice that the district sent out, we got only 1,400 vacant lots using defensible space, but some of those have some of those larger trees that can't be treated by our typical shaded fieldwork kind of folks, but we're building a database of all of that because whether we have the funding right now or we might get the state money coming in, we want to try to build up a list of here's sort of top priority projects of lots next to homes that have trees, focusing on that defensible space right first. So we work with you and the CCC to try to identify not only vacant lots, but brook trails, green belt, and other areas where it needs that kind of treatment.
Yeah, they gave me a tablet, and I went around and identified a few of those places already with Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby.
Bobby Delgado.
Excellent.
So, yeah, we'll get going on that. Anything else? That's it.
And I don't know if we can get folks to come up. Tracey already sort of gave her pitch about this website. Since she's going to be leaving the country, we really need somebody to help us to maintain and upgrade our website. So if any of you know younger people that are into web doing kinds of stuff, or yourselves, whatever, we can also afford to pay somebody. The Mendocino County Fire Safe Council web manager is a private company consultant. They do their website, so we may actually hire something out, but we were hoping we could find somebody within the community. It's one great way for us to make information available. We want to do more of that. We've got a shared drive online that people can get on there and look at documents. So we're trying to get SafteyNet as well, get people involved in that. So, gentlemen here, did you have a question or comment?
No, I was just saying, thinking, was going to be saying, if we're needing to read this and to watch the video, could you turn the first bank of lights down so we
Well,
can...
unfortunately, we'll try. Terry, would you turn off that switch by you there?
That's better. Oh, way better.
Yeah, so we won't be able to, the visual part of the film that we're making is less important than you guys being able to see this at this point. The people that are on the Zoom meeting are seeing the slides in the Zoom meeting anyway, so. All right, so I wanted Brian, that you were going to talk about, you started talking about safety net, sort of spell it out of all the different features of how we do it and what we dealt with.
Okay, so we have 15 volunteers that have said they're willing to monitor the radio traffic, and they can either do that with their ham radios, or you can get an app on your phone, and and the broadcasts are right here. And you can hear it all day long, all night long. We don't have assigned schedules. It's not like we have people that are going to do it from 2 to 3 or anything like that. It's a catch as catch can. So if you want to get involved, don't think that you have to sign up for a particular time slot. Just listen as much as you can, and then let us know. And we have a Telegram app also on our phones where we communicate with each other. That is So we're dependent on our phones a lot, and that's the way it is for right now. We not only need volunteers to listen to the radio, but we also need more people that can be trained to make, we go through a system called dial my calls, where the word goes out. Actually, the team decides, okay, this is something we need to pay attention to, let's get a heads up. And we right now have 4 people trained to do that. Well, on the 4th of July, none of those people were available. So we need more folks that can do that. We reached out to Pine Mountain and Ridgewood to try to broaden the scope of people that can help. But that also is going to mean that we're going to be reporting to them on activity that we hear in their area. Right now, I tune out if it's a medical call or if it's in Pine Mountain or Ridgewood. I just don't listen because that's not going to affect us right away. So with getting them involved, then we're also going to be commenting to them. We want to fix that.
Keep talking. I think we lost the internet.
So that's where we need more help. We need more people. And I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, one of the things we hear a lot is people, we have this ongoing discussion about what we should send out the SafteyNet incident alerts, because it does go to phone and text and email. So, you know, it's something that is going to alert you. And so our whole process that we use is first we have a discussion group. So all of us scanner scouts and hear something, they say, there's a fire on Goose Road. Well, right away, the first person that can get to that Telegram app can hit about a couple of dozen people throughout our community that are signed on to that Telegram app to say, hey, we just got an incident report of a fire on Goose Road. We're only saying what we're hearing. We're not making anything up. We're just relaying information. That then brings people that says, well, we may need to use our dial my calls alert system. So somebody usually texts in right away, I'm opening up dial my calls to prepare a message to go out in case that incident is confirmed. Now, we always wait because the report of an incident doesn't always mean there's really an incident. Sometimes they can't find the incident because somebody saw some smoke, and by the time you get up and look around, they'll just say, unable to locate, UTL, that kind of thing happens. Other times we're getting close to announcing something because they're heading up to a fire, like that one on Goose is a good example. We were ready to start, we were already typing in the notice to send it, but by the time that first truck got there, they got the fire out so quickly that we didn't feel like it was important to send out a notice to our about 500 people saying that there was a report of a fire, there was a fire, but it was put out right away. So we're trying not to use it unless it's something that is like an ongoing kind of an incident. So if they would have gotten there and had to call, the house got involved, and they were going to call another fire truck, we would have had that notice out within literally seconds of that, hearing that report when they get on scene. So we almost always wait for that report for somebody to get on scene before we actually punch the button to send out the notice to our community. Everybody that signed up so far with SafteyNet says that when we do send out a notice, even if it's out at Sherwood Ranch or the people in Brook Trails, whatever, everybody wants to hear what's going on because you'll have planes flying over, sirens going through, smoke rising, people are concerned about what's going on. So we try to do that. But again, judiciously use that alert system so we're not constantly doing it. I don't know why we've lost the internet, but that's the way it goes. So let me go back to this. So that having more people on the Telegram app would help us to identify more quickly what's going on, but we really need people that are able to use a computer that can send out these broadcast notices. It's not real complicated, but we only have 4 of us right now that can do that. So it's been critical that we, try to keep that, get some more people involved. So if you know anybody that's interested in doing that kind of stuff, even just having the cell phone app, so you don't have to have a scanner, that would help to, make sure somebody notices it. But we really need the people to come in and actually get trained on how to use the dial-in call system.
On a different subject, now that the district has a chipper, How many chipper days are you anticipating in the next, between now and next summer? How
Okay.
often do you think that'll happen?
All right, so Rick's jumping ahead on the agenda, but we'll just dive around, we can do that. The Chipper Days is an ongoing program offered by the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council. They have a regular monthly, once a month in Brook Trails. They're willing to schedule more of those. What you have to do is sign on at the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council's website, and that's it right there, firesafemendocino.org, and go to the Chipper Days, and you register your address, and they'll put you on the waiting list. Now, right now, I believe they're booked up for the next couple of months for the Brook Trails, but if we could get, like, if you have, I've been talking to the bigger subdivisions, first, second, third gauge, or Grant, Sylvandale, if they can get a few people together, so you've got a full day's worth of work for the crew to come out, then we can schedule more days. And so we've been trying to encourage local neighbors to say, hey, why don't a few of us locally here get together, we'll do our chipping and schedule, they'll come out and do a special day just for that group. So it's something that'll do more of them, but we need to make a full day out of it. Otherwise, if you just put your name into their list with the address, over time, they will end up coming and getting your stuff, but you can't put it out until you know they're gonna be there. So you do wanna get on the list, they'll tell you when it's scheduled, and you can get your minutes out there. Now, the district with the chipper, if there's a way we can utilize that, that would add to that. But again, one of the keys is getting local members to coalesce enough to make it worthwhile in one area. So, not driving way over here, driving way over there to catch a few miles. So what do you think, Rick? Is there a way to get the district chipper, to get more chipper days?
Well, the district is talking about it, certainly, and cameras run out on me, hasn't it?
Yes, it did.
So that's being discussed. It was discussed at a board meeting a couple of, I think, 2 meetings ago. So that chipper is definitely going to be factored in the months, all this winter.
And then the chief also talked about burning. Once it starts raining, burn piles are another good alternative to chipping. But we do need to have sufficient rain. The burn permits are already available now, so you can start burning. It's safer to have the chipping done, but by the same token, that takes a lot of energy, and you end up with a bunch of chips. The burning is very efficient and low cost, and something you can do for yourself, but you have to be willing to be safe about doing that. Okay, so we've lost our internet connection for those out there in the world that are trying to hear us on the internet. Sorry about that. We are recording the meeting though, so it will be something that will be available later on. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to ask Terry.
Yep.
There you go. We're talking about the park areas coming up.
So May 9th, 2026, we decided to have exhibits and have a little function out here at the Grove. We can piggyback off of wildfire awareness during that time frame. So there's a lot of messaging that's going out with wildfire awareness, so we can piggyback on that information. Most importantly, it's about education, entertainment, and fun. So getting some exhibitors, a couple of vendors for food. Hopefully we can have the Brook Trails Fire Department out there, maybe spraying kids if it's warm enough. Fire trucks. We've got a couple of ideas of prizes and that sort of thing. So really looking forward to that. And then the other thing is I attended this function up in Blue Lake. Cal OES and Listos, they provide us with neighborhood kits. So when we're doing a function like we're going to do on May 9th, we have door hangers that we can hang up. We have a lot of swag that we can provide. I've reached out to Listos because we've got a lot of people in Brook Trails and beyond. So we want to be able to reach out. We're not just a small subdivision. We're a relatively large subdivision with a lot of people. So hopefully they've got a storage bin of all these boxes stored up, and I've been reaching out to them to see how many we could actually get. So we hope that it's going to be a fun event, and we're looking forward to it. Do you want to do the second?
Yeah. Yeah, so another thing that we've been trying to do is get neighborhoods organized, and a neighborhood coordinator is somebody that really helps. And I know Kim is here, I don't know if she's still here or not. Anyway, up in my neighborhood, Kim Bancroft is our neighborhood coordinator. We have about a dozen area residents that are within, pretty much next door neighbors up there, larger parcels. But and that's, when something happens, you may need help of your neighbors, so the more you're connected in some kind of neighborhood group, like an evacuation might happen, you might be down in town and they close Sherwood Road and you're not able to get back up here, but your neighbor may still be up here and you can get your pet or your grandmother or whatever the heck, that you need. So it's nice to know that you've got a neighborhood that you can work with. So what we decided to do is to offer a $100 stipend for a person that would agree to be a neighborhood coordinator. And basically all we want to do is identify a handful of neighbors, a half dozen to a dozen neighbors, get their name, address, and phone number, and make a list, spreadsheet is fine, of those people so that they can network with each other. So we're trying to build, little groups around. So if you have, tell your people, your neighborhood that you're in, try to get, half dozen or 10 people together to form this little neighborhood group. Whoever does that, we're willing to pay $100 as a bonus, a stipend for somebody to do that. But we think it's really important, so we're going to start promoting that concept. And so anyway, anybody got any ideas about how to get neighborhoods more involved? I mean, we're sort of spread out in road trails. Anyway, if anybody wants to volunteer to help us figure out how to do that, we've been thinking like maybe the flowers over here and the mammals over there and the fish over here, some kind of thing, by street, to try to do some kind of affinity groups that way. But and maybe even contests. We've been talking about trying to stimulate some kind of games or contests out of it. But it's really important to be 5,000 people in our area. And most of us really don't know a whole bunch of our neighbors. I mean, generally speaking, throughout this area.
Keith, is there going to be, are any swap meets scheduled right now for the parking lot outside? There was one.
They just had the flea
not
market
too
in
long
June.
ago.
Yeah.
The flea market and
Right.
swap meets. If one is scheduled anytime in the next few months, that might be a place to have a major presence and get
Yeah.
items.
Well, we were there.
You'd maybe get a map that shows where the houses are.
Yeah. What we've been thinking about doing is using our SafteyNet subscribers. We have over 500 SafteyNet subscribers, and we have them mapped in our mapping system so you can see locations, and so we can see little clusters. And we've thinking about, contacting some of those people because they're already part of the SafteyNet network, and we can say, yeah, we've already identified 6 or 8 people around you that are also part of that SafteyNet network. So we already have their information and try to network it that way for people
I think
that are
that's
already involved.
a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, the challenge is younger families, they're real busy with kids. We're not having much luck reaching out to them. So again, we're thinking about games and things like the disc golf tournament was a good one. They just had a foot race through the district or the Foot Race Society. So I mean, there's some recreational, the bike group on the Woodlands trails come up and they do the trails through the Greenbelt. That kind of younger population can, needs to get more involved, and because they're going to be the ones that are going to be taking over for this elderly group that's going to eventually move on here. So, we got to think about that. A couple other things are really important. This vacant lot abatement thing is a really major deal. Without getting too technical, the fire department used to say to a vacant lot owner, send a letter that says, hey, your place has a bunch of overgrown stuff on it. If you don't take care of it, we're going to send a crew out there and clean it up, and we're going to bill you for it. We're going to put that as a lien against your property on your tax bill. Well, unfortunately, there's 4,500 vacant lots on road trails. And unfortunately, a lot of those 4,500 lot owners don't even know they own the lot because it's the second or third generation. Grandpa gave it to somebody that gave it to who knows who. And there's a lot that just aren't communicating at all. They're not paying their taxes. They're not paying any of the assessments of the school district or the fire district. And so we're having these non-responsive, we send out mailers and that kind of stuff. Well, the district, Brook Trails Community Services District agreed to alter their process a little bit and use what's called an administrative abatement, which allows for just public notice, and we can post it in a number of ways, but by sending a mailer out, even if they don't get a return back from that person, if we don't hear from them within 60 days, we have a legal right to access their property, to abate that property for hazards. So this is something that the district's approved. We sent out, I think, 1,400 approximately letters. You heard the chief say that mailing right away stimulated a whole bunch of people to just do it themselves, which is what we really want. But it also means that we have probably now hundreds, like over 1,000 lots, and we've targeted lots that are close to homes, because there's a bunch that are just out in the middle of nowhere, but we wanted to focus on the lots close to the houses. So we now have the ability to go and do defensible space work in those. So again, we're building a database of identifying the most dangerous properties next to the homes. So if you send information, send your address to info@sherwoodfirewise.org. You say, I live at 2735 Goose, and lots on either side of me, or there's one down the street, or I see one at the corner of Lilac, and whatever you want to report, let us know, and we'll add that to the list. There are funds coming. The Mendocino County Fire Safe Council had some funding that's now used up. They've done a bunch of defensible space, but we've applied for more. So what we want to do is have a good list of properties with identified problems. So when we do get that funding, we can go in and send the crews in to do that work. The California Conservation Corps has volunteered for no cost to do some of that work as well. So we've been able to use the CCC group and some labor to do those kinds of things. And I was really encouraged that they were willing to look at some of the tougher trees, because there are quite a few trees that are regular, what we call a shaded field break, just limbing up and clearing dead stuff, smaller kind of stuff. Can't really do that kind of big trees, big hung up, dangerous kinds of things. So that's another project to work on. But if you do see anywhere a vacant lot, someplace that looks like needs some work, please identify that and send an info at Sherwood Firewise to let us know.
Is this only in Brook Trails?
No, anywhere. The thing about Brook Trails is that the 100-foot defensible space is the responsibility of the property owner, of the building owner, the homeowner, up to the property line. Well, in Brook Trails, if you have a 50-foot wide lot and a 40-foot wide house, you got 5 feet on either side.
Yeah.
So you're going, 2 lots on either side of you, are impacted. And behind you on the green belt or whatever else. So it's more of an issue here. If you get out to the gates or Sylvandale or whatever, you got a house, and within 100 feet, it's all on your own property. So it's your responsibility. So we're really after the ones that have neighbors that they can't contact, that won't take care of their own property. That's the biggest issue we've got with 1,500 homes and 4,500 vacant lots. There's quite a few vacant lots that are within those people's defensible space where we haven't been able to find the owner, and we need to clear those lots. So I mentioned early on the Resource Conservation District had these grant funds to do road work. They're coming back into Spring Creek this coming year, next year, and finishing up work there. And this is everything: new culverts, reestablishing drainage, putting a bunch of new rock on. So it not only reduces the sedimentation, but it improves the quality of the traffic of access. And then our roadside fuel reduction, we're clearing back away from the road vegetation line. So if anybody needs to drive through there, isn't driving through a hall of flame like we've seen too many times in some of these big fires. We talked already about chipper days. I do want to say though that really talk to people about signing up. It's free at the Mendocino County Fire Safe Council. It's a free service to sign up for, and that's been one of the better programs. And they are willing to do as many as we can sign up, but we need to make it easy for them to get a group of people at one time rather than just having them try to come out for 1 or 2 here and there. One other thing we're working on is the new emergency access route. We talked about the Furco route, which was used in the Oak Fire. I mean, it was just amazing that we managed to get that in place. Cal Fire took care of clearing it, and sure enough, we had the Oak Fire, and it was really efficiently utilized to bring in the fire equipment up Furco and allow everybody to go down Sherwood Road. That's the only time I'm aware of that the Brook Trails area has been completely evacuated. So it was a really big deal, and that's exactly why we got that, was our number one priority after the Big Redwood Complex fire in 2017. When we started in 2018, was to reopen those access routes that had become overgrown. Now we have funding in place to maintain those routes, and we're working on a new route that goes from the top of Sherwood, top of Brook Trails down to Highway 20, so up around the Buckeye, Iris, up at the top elevation, heading down to the south, because there's quite a few fires that start from Highway 20 on the highway, also from the train, the skunk train has started quite a few fires. So that exposure is really important, and also access from that side to get up to the subdivision. So we're making some progress on that one. And then we talked a little bit about, and I'll show you on the map here, we have opened up the private section of ridge along the very top. If you go up Goose and you go to the left, there were some gates there where the Ridge Road goes onto private property for a while and then jogs back in and joins Brook Trails again, and there are gates there. So we did get permits to do the work there. CAL FIRE did come up and clear that out. So now we have clear access to make it all along the top of that ridge. Because if something's coming up from town, up this slope, and we can't go down Sherwood Road, we're going to have to head up the hill, out Sherwood Road the other way. And so these are things we're trying to build into our emergency access plans.
Keith, will that gate be open from the two, there's two sides of Ridge Road there, there's that gate. Will that gate be allowed to be open, or is it only by the sheriff or fire department?
Yeah, so this is the thing that we've had to learn about, the difference between an evacuation route and an emergency access route.
Right.
So primarily the access is for the fire crews to come in to get access. Now, what the sheriff will tell you is that if the person that's showing up there says, we need to evacuate this area, and there's that route there, they have the ability to get that gate open. But the most important thing is the route has been cleared. Because when we had the fire in 2017, and the chief told us that route, the Furco route, where he would never send anybody down there because there were trees across the road and it was not maintained. So by us maintaining those routes so they are accessible, if something happens and it does need evacuation down those routes out of the subdivision, then that would be something that the sheriff is going to do. The thing about it is you can't, people go, well, I've got a key in my bolt cutters, whatever.
Right.
The thing is, you don't want to start driving down those roads and end up running into a bunch of fire trucks coming up because you're not coordinating with the officials. So if you're going to have to be evacuated, the evacuation notices will tell you, what to do, and hopefully Sherwood Road will be available as our number one, our only evacuation route. But if you're trapped in an area like that where you can't get down the hill or over by the airport, they may use those routes, or even by the park course here to get down to Northbrook. There may be if Sherwood Road falls off because of an earthquake, there's all kinds of things that can happen, right? So we want more points of access and ingress and egress. So
What can you say about the Primrose Avenue route?
So this is the route here that goes down to about where the KOA campground used to be, Redwood campgrounds, whatever. And we've gotten pretty good response from the owners. The CAL FIRE and the Brook Trails have gone and looked at it, and the county as well, as far as the condition of the road and what it would take to fix it up. This is not included in our current benefit assessment. Only the Furco route, which goes from the highway up here over by the airport, and the Willits Creek route, which goes down to Northbrook here. These two are the ones that are included in our current emergency access route funding mechanism. The section here that we cleared is this gated section that ties back in over here to Buckeye and Iris and some others. So again, this has been cleared as far as vegetation goes. So CAL FIRE can approach that, or the Brook Trails Fire Department can utilize it. We also have done roadside fuel reduction all the way out Ridge Road, and this goes all the way out to Spring Creek and eventually ties back into Sherwood Road. So that's another potential route for evacuation. This is some of the stats on that emergency access route funding. So basically, we've got 20 years term, and it's going to be about $120,000 worth of money. Most of that's going towards just annual maintenance, kind of things. But there are some things like culverts and such that need to be put in. And I mentioned we're working on some additional emergency access routes. Just to give you an idea of roadside fuel reduction, this is the Sherwood Road up to Sherwood Ranch. So we've pretty much completed this part of it. We're still coming back down Sherwood Road to the Y there. And there's a contract already let for the lower part of Sherwood Road. The next project here, this is Sylvandale. Hobbit Hill has already been done. First parcel has been done, so the crews will be going out and doing the rest of Sylvandale. That's next on our list. And then next year, in 2026, we've got the Sherwood route all the way from Willits up to the Y. And that's going to be one big project. Googler's got that contract. And then we're going to do the Gates subdivisions over here, roadside fuel reduction. So both of those we have funding for, so we're losing, this is state funding, so we have that money, and we expect to get to that work next year. It's good through 2028, so we have time in case there's weather-related issues or other kind of stuff. So we'll stop there and see what other questions or comments people have. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, I just wanted to say that,
Turn the lights on.
I decided to go out the route that takes you to 101. So I went from Ridge down Timber and through onto Sherwood Road, head north, and then went on that trail out there. I was really impressed with all the road work that's been done there since I was last on it when we all caravanned out there twice. It's just fantastic. However, I wanted people to know that anyone taking that route, it brings you out 7 miles north of Willits on 101. However, I'm trying to think where it was where there's one point, God, I wish I could remember where it was. You come across a sign where someone when you're going onto the dirt road, there's a sign there that some neighbour has put out, so as you're about to enter that part, it says something like no access or, don't come this way, basically. And so I was like shocked because that is the exit, and if someone were to see that and they're trying to go out, that could deter them.
Yeah, I'll have to try to see where that is, because that's a county road, that's a county maintained road.
And so luckily Maria Bates, who's one of our Firewise members, as I was like, so I kind of stopped, and she was coming out of that road, and I waved her down, and she told me, hey, even the post office thought they couldn't even go in there to drop off mail. So something needs to happen with that. I don't know. But obviously,
so it's the difference between public and private property. So it sounds like you're talking about like Spring Creek private roads.
Yeah, this is the actual access road that's not a private road. It's anybody can go out on that road. It's the route you took us out on.
Are you talking about Sherwood Road?
I'm talking about, you get to Sherwood Road, you go along Sherwood Road, and then you go on to another bit. It becomes a dirt road, and then,
It's just past the little school, and then there's a Y. One part goes to Sherwood Ranch, and the other part is the road that goes to south of Laytonville. And I take that road a lot, and I haven't seen any private signs on it. I've seen it at all.
Yeah, I'm just not sure where you're talking about.
Well, it was on that route. I mean, it took me all the way out to the 101, you pass that sign, you go, and whatever it was, there's suddenly, the road changes in a sense and becomes more of a dirt road or something. I don't have a great memory.
Do you remember this? Are you talking about washboard on the road? A couple years ago.
No, I'm talking, but I mean, just as you're entering, Maria Bates, I need to call her and say, where was that? I mean,
let us know,
her
because
name or
if it's along Sherwood Road, that's a county road, so there shouldn't be any signs that say anything about restricted access.
It wasn't actually, let me think. it's our back trail that
Well,
is,
back trails, we've had a lot of conversations with area people in the whole county about private roads.
well, this is the road that is our exit route. It is part of our exit route. I was following the Sherwood Firewise map
Right,
all the way out, and it's and I think it's the, you know, that last leg of it where
huh,
you're coming off one area and going onto a dirt road, and some guy, or I'm saying some guy, person, sorry,
the elk did it.
has that notice there, which makes you think, do I get shot if I keep going, you know?
Interesting, yeah.
So, anyway, just to know you can keep going, there's no problem.
County
Don't be
road.
deterred.
Somebody else have a question? Yes.
My backyard is Lake Emily. We have a lot of reeds coming up,
Uh-huh,
and during the summer, it's pretty wet, so it's okay, but in the wintertime, it gets dry. It's close to my house,
yeah.
so I
Real
usually
close.
talk to you about that.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one because that's part of the watershed and the reservoir and any kind of, you know, they've been talking about whether to dredge that area, you know, what kind of management can they do that's environmentally sound because our drinking water supply.
Yeah.
But that's what happens with bodies of water. They get things like cattails come up and algae and sedimentation and whatever, and then it ends up making the reservoir smaller and less useful.
We've been there 5 years and it gets worse every year.
It
Yeah.
keeps getting closer and closer.
Yeah, well, that's like Swamp Gulch.
The
if you're out on-
ducks, the turtles, and the frogs love it,
Yeah, yeah.
but the rest of us don't. I mean, you know,
I don't mind
they
it.
grow like 6, 7 feet tall, and then they
Yeah.
die back. And it just creates a thatch, you know, that they all grow on year to year to year. And now it's about this thick.
It's too bad Rick left, he's on the Brook Trails board. This sounds like something that would be a good, to go to the Brook Trails board. I mean, we can't, as Sherwood Firewise, can't really do anything about that. But we could go to the board of directors because again, that's part of their water system. And I'm sure they're aware of it, but there's these restrictions about what can you do in a watershed area.
Yeah.
Like when we're doing roadside fuel reduction, we don't even walk where there's a creek or anything like that. We don't get into any of that kind of stuff, because we don't want to mess it up. But if it's a fire hazard, it should be dealt with. And I think it's also beneficial to the water supply to thin that stuff out, but it needs to be done in a way that would be, you know, safe to the watershed itself. So that'd be something the Trails Board should be made aware of.
Because I've got a couple of 100-foot trees around the house there, you know, I'd be a real devil to light them off. I
Yeah,
mean, they're big.
yeah.
You've got firs, redwoods, tan oaks.
I'm sure everybody has those handy.
Well, that is as part of our challenge of living in this forested area. We love the forest, but by the same token, the trees are
A
big.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Trees don't live forever. You know, they drop a lot of fruit, they
Yeah.
end up dying, breaking limbs off, that kind of stuff. So it's a big expense to maintain this forest.
Now Bud did.
And we're working on trying to find public access kind of funds, even for the green belt, because Brook Trails Community Services District doesn't want to have a vegetation district. They have water, fire, and sewer. And so, you know, they need special funding to do the outline of the green belt. And they do get grants to do that, but it's sort of hit and miss. Anybody else got any ideas?
Well, that lake was man-made, it's a runoff lake anyway.
Anything else we ought to be doing for next year that you can think about?
Amazing job.
Thanks everybody for coming again, really appreciate it. And please do that info at Sherwood Firewise, let us know if you see any hazards. That's the place to put them into the database.
Thank you very much.
Calling the raffle?
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute. Thank you. Okay, so the door prize, where's the door prize?
Carol, we're all old enough to know who she is, right?
Okay, here's the 50/50 prize ticket. The last 3 digits are 111. If you're not here,
Well, that's
you
this
have-
one.
No? They went home already. Okay. We raised.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, 111.
Yay, Jan, all right.
Verified.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
And we have some door prizes. We got 4 of our cloth bags here, as well as the grand prize, so I'm gonna do that. We'll draw the first one to get the big prize. Or should we do let's do the other prizes. No, let's do the big. We'll do the big prize first. Okay, last 4 numbers, 8210, 8210. Yay! Get the beautiful basket. And we'll try a couple more here. We've got, how about 8180? 8180. Perfect.
You got anything?
Should have just got one of those, yeah.
Oh, it's an icy. I did, but.
How about 8190? Okay, we've got the one bag back here. About 8208. 8208. That's it, man. Good carrying those books. About 8184. 8185.
Go the other way.
8214, 8214.
Hey!
There you go. All right. And 8173.
What number?
8173.
Is that for the purpley one?
Yep.
Okay, that's me.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let somebody else have that.
Anybody want-
Take it.
Give it away for
Thank you. Unless anybody else wants it.
How about 8212? 8212. 8175.
Okay, so does someone like another bag? Like, who said it first?
Okay, last one.
You said that first.
8177.
Who wanted that?
8177. Anybody?
Oh, all right.
I have a lot of that.
8171. There we go. Yay! Well, that's it.
Thank you very much.